Welcome back, partiers, to the show. Hope you all had a happy new year. This is Party Pastime, and Pat, I hope you had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's to you, man. How was your holiday during the time, man?
It was good. Yeah. Nice, relaxing, pretty low stress holiday season this year. Just kept it low key. Had a couple dinners with immediate family. Saw some friends. Exchanged gifts, the typical holiday stuff. Rang in New Year quietly by myself on the couch, drinking my favorite beer. The only
Nice.
way I wanted to do it. And yeah, it was good. What about you, man? I hope your holidays were good.
It was good,
I mean,
yeah. Got to see the family, a lot of the extended family during Christmas. Went to my cousin's house, did our annual gift exchange, and then Rennie and I spent New Year's over at OCC in Clearwater. No Filter, the band that I work for, was playing that night, so I was off from working with them, and I got to spend our first New Year's together. Thankfully, there it was a lot of fun. Big
Cool.
crowd.
oh, I bet, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. We ended up getting the band, because I know the band, they snuck us in, and so we got in for free, thankfully.
Yeah. Hey, if you can get in for free, that's the best.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hard to complain. Even if it were bad, it's hard to complain when you got in for free.
For real, man. Pat, it's been quite a year. We got a lot. Well, maybe not a lot to talk about. I know when you were talking to me, you said you didn't really see a whole lot of movies. I know for sure I didn't, and really play a lot of games either. But I'm excited to talk about what we have today. It's our look back episode, favorite movies and games we had, and what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, we'll call this the year in review.
Year in review. That's it. Pat, before we get into that, as of today, and I'm kind of glad we saved the episode for today, because the trailer for the new Daredevil show that's coming on Disney Plus was just released.
Yes, this morning.
Yep, Daredevil Born Again, and what I find hilarious was that for the longest time it was said that some characters are not going to return, but then you see these characters have returned. Specifically Punisher. I'm really excited to see Frank Castle coming back.
Yeah, they were keen to not really show anything, which is refreshing.
Yeah,
coming out of a 3-minute trailer, not really understanding anything that I saw. Not having a full play-by-play of the entire plot of the show is nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like it's aiming to match the style and tone of the Netflix show,
Mm-hmm.
which is that's a good thing. I still think, that's the best Marvel show or Marvel series that they ever did. So, I'm excited to get back to the dark, gritty, violent, street level, type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin already stealing the show. But yeah, this looks pretty good. I mean, it's only a 3-minute trailer, so I can't pull much out of that. But
yeah, especially since they haven't
I'm definitely excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah, well, you said that there's not really much to pull from a 3-minute trailer, especially since they haven't really said a lot of what the plot's going to be. It's just really cool that they're really coming back to that. It's been long overdue for a Daredevil show, really.
Yes.
And I really hope we see some of the more characters come back. I'm going to assume that we will probably get little hints of like, you know, Jessica, Luke, and Danny, the Iron
Danny.
Fist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, don't really know if they'll make cameos. If they do, I'm sure they wouldn't want to show in the trailer. I'm sure they would want to save that to be more of a surprise,
Yeah.
especially since just stating the obvious here, since there really hasn't really been any announcements of any of those characters come back. I'm sure they just want to save that more of a surprise if they will happen to make an appearance somewhere in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I think this is a cool transition because for our look back, um, because this is definitely a show that I'm really looking forward to coming up in 2025. But Pat, before we kind of talk about more stuff of what we're excited for, let's take a step back and just talk about our favorite movies and games of the year. You created like a whole list
Yeah.
of like top 10 movies and games. So I'll just let you take it from here. Let's
Yeah,
start.
I went on a bit of a side quest.
Yeah.
You wanna start with movies or games?
Let's start with games. I'm very curious about some of the games that you were really
All right.
looking forward that you genuinely loved last year.
Good to know. All right. So I'm not gonna rank these in any particular order.
Mhm.
Except the last one I talk about will be like my overall game of the year. Um, so I made a list of 10 games. I played more than 10 games. These were just the ones that I like the best, put the most time in, etc. Whatever. So we're gonna start off with Astrobot, um, Sony's
Ooh.
fantastic adventure platformer.
I'm gonna be
One
honest,
game.
Pat. I really thought Astrobot was gonna be like your favorite game of the year when you said that you were gonna save one for last as like your
It's
favorite.
very, very
Okay.
close. It could like flip flop.
Okay.
So, but we're gonna start with Astrobot, Sony's fantastic character adventure platformer released for the PlayStation 5. Won Game of the Year at the Game Awards this year, and deservedly so. It's an absolutely phenomenal, joyous, really fun game that will remind you why you like video games, and you should play it. Um, Next, we're gonna shift over to another game that was nominated for Game of the Year, Metaphor ReFantazio. Um, this is a fantastic JRPG from Atlas, the developers of the Persona series. This is very similar to the Persona games, with like a medieval fantasy twist. This is my favorite narrative of the year in a video game. Just fantastic writing, great gameplay, love the social systems, all that. Totally worth looking into if you like Persona games, and maybe if you've never played a Persona game, try this one out. You might like it. Um, Next, another massive like 70 plus hour JRPG, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Ooh.
the continuation of the Final Fantasy VII remake trilogy now. Um, this is a game that I almost feel like has too much game. The physical version of this comes on 2 discs, so this is a lot of game for your money. It is a massive undertaking if you want to do absolutely everything there is to do in this game, but it's an incredible story, and I've never played a game that's more focused on just the sense of wonder and fantasy and just like sweep you off your feet moments, maybe quite as much as this one, and it's definitely worth looking into. um Next, we're going to go to a game called Anton Blast. This is a really, really, really fun, super fast, precision 2D side scroller platformer. Very Wario World or Wario Land 4 inspired. It is all about going fast, destroying the environment, irreverent humor, lot of charm, like American graffiti type art style, incredible music. Um, it's like $15 on Steam, and you get a lot of game for that much money. Especially if you want to go through and get all the collectibles and you want to do all of the time trials for the levels under par time. This will really test your skills at platformers and being able to do things perfectly every time. But I had a ton of fun with this one. Next, we're going to go to Animal Well. This was a game that got a lot of praise and critical acclaim early in the year. And it was, I think, up for Best Indie Game at the Game of the Year Awards. This was, I don't know if you've ever heard of Video Game Donkey, the YouTube channel.
Oh, who hasn't?
Right. So he has a game publishing company now called Big Mode Games, and this was their first game that they published.
Oh,
so this game,
I so forgot he did that. Yeah,
yeah. So this was but this is a really interesting, mysterious, like very esoteric Metroidvania puzzle game where you fall down into a well, the animal well, as it were, and the game is very not keen on giving you any information up front. You need to solve this mystery yourself. You need to solve all of the puzzles, but the puzzles are immaculately designed. And considering that Billy Bassett was the sole developer of this game, he did all of the music, all the sound effects, all the coding, all the puzzle design. The later half of the game has some puzzles that make you feel like an absolute gigabrain god when you solve them. So this is definitely one to check out if you want to flex your mental muscles while also exploring a genuinely captivating world with super interesting sound and music design.
Ooh.
Next we got Helldivers 2, the most fun multiplayer game I played this year by far. I fell off of this one a little bit, but then I got back into it because of the new update. And I mean, this is just like this is a fucking riot if you play it with your friends. You get a squad of 3 friends who are really committed to playing this game, and you will have the absolute time of your life. Many hours spent sitting on Discord listening to Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival as we dove down to the planet to squash some bugs and complete some objectives. Easily some of the most fun that you'll have from a game last year, and it just keeps getting better all the time. The devs have been really good about listening to community feedback and addressing concerns, balancing things the way that are appropriate, and adding really interesting content. So definitely, like if you're looking for a challenging but fun and just really like satirical, kind of goofy, like 4-player co-op shooter, this is one for sure.
Yeah, I definitely need to get back into playing more Helldivers. So much fun.
It's awesome. Yeah. Next one, I'm gonna count this one as a technicality because it was in early access, but the full 1.0 release came out this year, so it's like actually out now. It's like fully out. It's a game called Satisfactory on Steam. This is a cooperative multiplayer crafting survival game, but less so on the survival. You know how sometimes people who play Minecraft go absolutely insane using redstone to build like machines and factories and stuff? Satisfactory is a game that is literally all about building, like, mining for things to build a factory, and over time making that factory as large and as efficient as possible. It scratches a very, very particular itch in my brain where I'm just like striving to make bigger and better things that are more efficient. I literally I started doing fucking calculus while I was playing this game. Dude, we were doing math problems and like solving like differentials like on Discord with like live like math sessions to solve like efficiency errors
Oh my
while we were
god.
playing this game. Do you know how deep into a game I need to be to willingly do math? Like, that's a lot. I don't like doing math. So, like, for a game to make me willingly do math like this says a lot. It's really fun. You know, get together with your friends and build a factory. Everybody kind of goes off and does, you know, their own little odd jobs, and there's some combat, but it's just that kind of really particular itch in my brain, and it's just really fun to see all of your hard work come together to make the next part of the work that you're doing that much easier. I feel like I'm not doing this justice. Definitely like read like Steam reviews or watch like YouTube videos to get a better sense of what the game is actually like, because it's insane. Um, Next up, we have another 70 plus hour JRPG. This is a great year for JRPGs. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. This is the eighth mainline Yakuza game. But because of like a name parity between the West and Eastern releases now, that's all just the Like a Dragon series. Um, this is, I don't want to say it's a JRPG for people who don't like JRPGs, but it's so unconventional in its approach and so unabashedly weird that it's kind of easy to recommend to people who maybe don't like JRPGs. This takes place on a like immaculately recreated island of Hawaii, and Gene Park, who's the video game writer for Wall Street Journal, actually used to live on the island in Hawaii where this game takes place. And he was able to like call out how accurate it was. Like he saw his old apartment building in it, like perfectly
Oh my
like
god.
recreated, like the building that he used to live in. But this game's so goofy. And it's not just the fact that it has like a sprawling story that's as funny as it is like genuinely moving. It's also got a like an Animal Crossing type side game where you build up your own private island and move people there and try and get it up to a 5-star rating to make bonus income. It's got a Pokemon style mini game, but the Pokemon in this instance are just really weird people. It's just like it's so out there and so strange, but so good. And it's a great send off to some of the characters who've been in the Yakuza series since the very beginning. So maybe don't jump into it if you haven't at least brushed up on like a YouTube summary of some of the other Yakuza games, or maybe just play the one that came before this, which is just called Like a Dragon. Um, but I had a ton of fun with this one. Next up, Silent Hill 2, the remake.
Ooh.
This one really took me by surprise because the original trailer for this made it look not good, or at least like it wouldn't even hold a candle to the original Silent Hill 2. But this came out and I saw some extremely positive reviews about it. I'm a big fan of the original Silent Hill 2. I think it's a seminal game for the PlayStation 2, and I think it's a game that everybody should try and play at least once. Um, this is just about everything I could have asked for from a remake of a game like Silent Hill 2. It modernizes the experience without compromising the spirit of the original too much. And the changes that they made, I can live with. I don't agree with all of them necessarily, but it's okay because it's ultimately kind of trying to just be a different kind of game, right? It didn't preserve the fixed camera angles. It's a much more traditional third person gameplay experience. But the essence of Silent Hill 2 and all of its emotional depth and impact still remains. So if you've never played the original or you're looking to maybe get a new perspective on the original, I can easily recommend the remake. Um, One of the most affecting games that I've played this year. I had like a very like visceral emotional reaction to playing through this, which is something that happened to me with the original Silent Hill 2 as well.
Mm.
But if you like your games, you know, intense and creepy and moody and brooding, this is one that you need to check out for sure. And then lastly, we have my game of the year, the best game I've played this year, the game that has completely consumed my life since it came out last February, Balatro. Um, oh boy, what can I say about
Yep.
Balatro
That should not surprise me.
other than it is a simple concept executed to absolute perfection, and it extracts a lot of depth beneath the surface of what appears to just be a simple little poker game. But it is a lot more. Um, Balatro is impeccably designed from top to bottom by, yet again, one developer, Mr. Local Thunk on Twitter. Um, and it just hits all the right spots. It is The gameplay is perfectly balanced, striking the right amount of luck against your skill as a player. The music is perfect for getting you into the flow state of a run, and all of just the little sound designs, like when you click cards to do anything with them, and the way the deck riffles when you draw a new hand or discard a hand, the sound effect of you cashing out your money, re-rolling the shop, the little drum hits, like the tom drum hits and bongo hits when you turn cards into other cards or use a tarot card or a planet card. It's all just brilliant. And I've, you know, something of like a bit of a personal anecdote, but when we were going through Hurricane Milton, and it was one of the most like stressful nights of my life. Like I went to stay at a friend's house because I wasn't sure how my house would hold up in the event that it were like stronger than it was. And, we were really on edge and just scared and tired. And, the storm was coming in and the winds were starting to whip around the house. And me and my two friends, I was staying with, he had a Bluetooth speaker and he pulled up the Balatro music like on YouTube, and we were just like listening to that over the speaker. And for the next 2.5 to 3 hours, he was playing Balatro on his phone. I was playing Balatro on my phone, and his partner was in the room with us as well. And she was watching us play, and we were playing Balatro while teaching her how to like the basics of Balatro, and we just had like this 3 to 4 hour extended conversation about Balatro and its game design and like the crazy runs that we had and how deliberate everything was. And I totally credit that conversation for getting me through that night, because for the next 3 to 4 hours, it was like nothing was happening outside. We were strictly focused on what was going on inside, and that was Balatro. And it's one of the few games that has the distinct honor of having been purchased on every platform I can buy it for, partly because I want to support the dev that bad, but also because I just want to be able to play it no matter where I am or what I'm doing. Um, I have played this game for hundreds of hours. I have done everything you can possibly do in terms of progression, and I still keep playing it. And I still keep finding people who are posting good seeds or interesting seeds for runs so that I can just keep having endless variety and endless ways to play the game and navigate its gameplay loop long after I have already sort of air quotes seen all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's why Balatro is my favorite game of 2024.
Heck yeah, Pat. That's awesome.
And then for movies, I will talk about these significantly less. um, we'll do the same thing where I'll list, it's no particular order, but then the last one I list will be the best movie I saw. So we're gonna start off with Nosferatu. Um, Robert Eggers don't miss. That's all I'll say about it. Um, Actually, I'll say a little bit more. I will say every single actor in this movie absolutely destroys their performance in like the best way possible. Lily Rose Depp is incredible. Willem Dafoe is incredible. Nicholas Holt's incredible. And Bill Skarsgård especially is incredible. Completely disappears in the Count Orlok character in a way that's not usually seen in movies, at least for me. I mean, the makeup helps, but very reminiscent of like Heath Ledger's Joker, where you just like it doesn't even seem like it's the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Beautiful aesthetics too. Absolutely gorgeous looking movie. Speaking of gorgeous movies, Alien Romulus. This is one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. We've already reviewed this on the show, so I won't say too much more about it. But this is like this renewed my faith in Aliens as a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I need Fede Alvarez to direct. I know they're working on a sequel. Like the sequel was greenlit, so I am very, very anxious for that. Speaking of sequels, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was another movie I saw this year that I thoroughly enjoyed. We saw this together,
Yes.
and I had a blast. This is like opening night IMAX.
It was.
I don't. This isn't better than Dawn. Wait, Dawn's the first one. Rise is the second one, right?
Rise is the first one.
Rise is the first one. Dawn.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not better than Dawn, which is still the best. But this was actually better than I was thinking it would be
Mm-hmm.
when I went into it, because I was like, well, haven't you like exhausted this franchise? No, they haven't. This franchise still has gas, and we're definitely going to get more of them, and that's great, because this is probably the most consistent franchise in like modern sci-fi. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of these movies is awesome. Next we have The Substance. Probably I don't want to say the best horror movie I've seen this year, but it's definitely close if it's not. I think Demi Moore puts on the performance of her career in this movie. It's not for the squeamish. If you don't like body horror, stay far away. But it's equal parts funny and tragic, and a pretty cold, calculated look at the way society views women, particularly as they start to age, and the toll that takes on them, as well as fame. It's got like a tinge of black humor like all throughout, but there are some genuinely like heart-wrenching moments in this, as Demi Moore plays a woman who just cannot come to grips with the fact that she has essentially aged out of Hollywood. And the body horror is immaculate. This movie is fucking disgusting, but it's absolutely worth watching if you think you have the constitution for it.
Okay.
Next we have The Wild Robot. I adored this movie. This was the only movie that made me cry this year. Just a stunningly beautiful animated movie that was an absolute joy to experience. Very moving. Very like it's hard not to like sit and think for a while after you've seen it. Like it really sticks with you.
Mm-hmm.
And did you see this?
No, this is one of the movies that I actually regret not catching in theaters. You know what?
The one that got away.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I think this is actually getting a re-release sometime this month.
Really?
I think
I hope
so.
so. I'll go see it again, man. I hope so. Cause I this is so good.
Ooh,
Um,
looks
one
like
of DreamWorks. It's DreamWorks, right?
yeah.
This is one of their best movies by far. This is serious. I would put this up with the first How to Train Your Dragon and the first Shrek, as this is like straight up one of DreamWorks' best movies.
It's
Uh, so is it getting a re-release?
I'm looking at it right now. I think this weekend.
Really? Man, if you can fit it in, go.
I'm definitely gonna do that.
Cool. This is one that deserves to be seen in the theater. The visuals are breathtaking. Seriously, it's one of those. It's one of those movies that makes me wish like the Academy took animated movies more seriously, right?
Oh yeah.
Because they're always like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, they're for kids. It's like, okay, here's this actual cinema. You know what I mean? But I digress. Next up, we have Long Legs. Great movie.
Long legs.
Great movie. I love this movie. I will say the marketing did some insane work for this movie. I don't think it's as scary as the marketing would lead you to believe, but I do think it's very scary. And I God, I don't remember the last time a movie actually gave me a nightmare. And Long Legs gave me nightmares. So there you go. It's a very like deeply. It's honestly, it's more like a thriller rather than a straight up horror movie. But it's a very good, deeply affecting, dark, brutal police procedural
Mm-hmm.
about hunting a serial killer,
Mm-hmm.
and every actor in this movie goes fucking nuts. This is probably Nicolas Cage's best performance, in my opinion, or certainly one of his best. Um, and this was another one where I left the theater and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I just like I couldn't escape it for like more than a week. Um, so yeah, great movie, Long Legs. Next we have Monkey Man, probably the best action movie I saw this year. Dev Patel is insane, because he directed and starred in this movie. So he was he was establishing all the shots while also doing all these stunts. This is a visually captivating movie, and it is a kind of like cut and dry revenge story, of course, but it also has some decent commentary on class
Mm-hmm.
and class warfare and the disparity between classes. Excuse me. And the fight choreography in this movie goes insane. Like I don't know how they seriously, I don't know how Dev Patel did this. But he's like really pushing for himself to be like the next big like Hollywood action star. And I mean, they should just like kind of let him do what he wants after this. Between this and The Green Knight, man's on absolute fire. And Jordan Peele helped him get this out the door. Like he produced it, I think. Um, the bar fight that's like in the last like 30 minutes of this movie
Mm-hmm.
is one of the best choreographed fight scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, this is a movie I definitely
And
have to check out because I loved Green Knight. Since you
oh
brought it up,
yeah, it's great, dude.
I saw that. I remember I saw Green Knight on a flight. I forgot where I was flying to. I think I was visiting family up in Maryland when
Mm.
that came out on when that movie came out on digital, and I was like, yeah, I've heard good stuff about this, and that was probably the best plane ride I've ever had.
Yeah, dude, that movie blew me away. Yeah, this one is great. Next up we have I Saw the TV Glow. This is I'm noticing how many horror movies are on this list.
About to say, this must have been a
It's,
great year for horror.
it was a great year for horror. This one is kind of like a psychological horror movie, and I can't really talk about it too much because saying anything really specific about it kind of gives it away. But this was the other movie that made me cry this year, and it's it's unsettling, and it's just like it's its own kind of horror. It's kind of like feel like feel like if I explain it the way I want to, I'm giving away too much. Um, you know what? Just see it. You know, it's not super gory or anything like that, but it is deeply affecting, and I think anyone who sees it will come away with a better appreciation for the art form that is making a horror movie. And then last on my list is Transformers 1, which is a movie that I didn't expect to like at all because the marketing was terrible. The marketing for this movie did it absolutely zero justice, and that's the reason that this was basically a box office bomb. Um, but this was very, very good. um, this is certainly the best Transformers movie to come out since at least 2007. Um, seriously, a lot of fun, and it's just a like a great version of the origins of these characters. Stacked voice cast who all kills their roles, beautiful animation, good action, great tension, drama, everything. I'm so mad at the way that this was marketed because it's so much more than just a dumb like kids comedy.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's not a dumb kids comedy at all. Like it has some comedic relief, but this is one that everybody can sit down and get a lot of mileage out of. If you're a Transformers fan, especially. I'm not like super big into the property, but I could understand why this would be like huge for people who are. Um, maybe we get a sequel. I don't know. Kind of depends, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those were the 10 best games. Oh wait, I forgot. My movie of the year, Dune Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was the best movie I saw this year. This is the best movie I've seen in the past 5 years. Um, and the only reason it's the best movie I've seen in the past 5 years is because Dune Part 1 came out in 2020. Or was it 2021?
That was. That had to be 2020, right? 2021.
2021. That's what I thought. Anyway, yeah. This is the best movie I've seen in the past 5 years.
Yeah, I hear the new show that's on Max is pretty good.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard decent things
Mm-hmm.
about it. Um, I mentioned previous movies on this list where I just like couldn't stop thinking about them.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one I really, really couldn't get away from. I saw this 3 times in theaters, which I have only seen 3 other movies as many times as that in the movie theater. And I was captivated the entire time, all 3 times. I've seen it 2 more times at home since then. So this is the movie that I've watched the most this year, period. And I just like, I mean, this is the kind of movie that you watch that makes you realize why you love movies in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like pure, unadulterated, good ass cinema. And it feels like I'm kind of like at ground zero for a culturally defining powerhouse
Mm-hmm.
for sci-fi the way that Lord of the Rings was for fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like this is this generation's Lord of the Rings. Like with this trilogy because we're getting Messiah
Yeah.
now. It was greenlit. It's just like, and it's not just the visuals. You know, obviously it's a beautiful looking movie. Um, but it's also the way that he manages to harness the power of dramatic acting. If Timothy Chalamet, who, you know, was like I was like passively a fan of, you know, especially after the first Dune movie, but like that dude is like I'm a huge fan now based on some of the other stuff that in some of his interviews and stuff, he seems so like down to earth and grounded. You know, he's just like you and me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if he does not get a best actor nomination for this movie, I will be genuinely upset because the scene where he fully embraces the prophecy and he gives that speech underground where he talks about how he is the Messiah and he just like dares them to, you know, say otherwise. It's just like, ooh, primo. And Rebecca Ferguson goes crazy in this movie too. Again, this is another movie where every actor absolutely kills their roles.
Mm-hmm.
And just so many good standout moments. The fight in the arena with Fade Routh the Harkonnen and riding the giant sandworm and the assault on the Emperor. It's just like this is oof. This is like quintessential sci-fi cinema. If you're a fan of sci-fi and you haven't watched these two movies, you're not a fan of sci-fi. I'm revoking your card
Uh-oh.
until you watch them, and then you can have it back. But yes,
I'm gonna have to revoke
wow, I
mine,
have
Pat.
talked a lot. You didn't see it?
I didn't see it.
That's
No. I saw
insane,
I saw part
dude.
one in theaters. I just missed it. Another one I just got away from me. I just missed out on it.
That is
Yeah,
insane,
I
Thomas.
know, I know. I'll
Thomas,
I'll watch it tonight, maybe tomorrow.
you you have got to see this. This
Yeah,
is so good.
yeah. I didn't go to the movies as much as I really wanted to this year.
Yeah,
Um, but I do want to say this. This was a great year for documentaries.
really.
Yeah. Like beginning of the year, we got that documentary series about the I forgot what it was called. It was about the former Nickelodeon stars and like all the shit they had to deal with a lot of the producers. Quiet on Set is what it's called. Real intense subject matters. In that, I think it was like a 3-part, 4-part documentary series. Um, of course, we all know by now when Drake Bell enters into the picture, things get like a little too much, and what he had to deal with and how much he had to hide was just really intense, but at the same time, very compelling.
Yeah,
And just very brave for him to come out and just say all this stuff about what he had to deal with. Um, the Movie Pass documentary, I talked to you about it, Pat. I don't know if you ever got the chance to watch it. Movie Pass Movie Crash talks
no,
ab-
I didn't see it,
it
but
talks about the what happened with Movie Pass. We by this time, I'm sure we all know Movie Pass. They changed their prices from like $40 a month to $10 a month. Everybody signs up for it because it's like it's finally cheap to go to the movies. Financial issues got involved because of that, and a while ago, Pat, I remember we talked about it on a lost episode of Party Pastime when Movie Pass was coming back. You know, we were poking fun at it, but what I didn't know, and I'm sure what you didn't know either, was that Stacy Spikes, the original founder of Movie Pass, at that time, he heard that Movie Pass was up for auction after the whole thing shut down a few years later, and he bought it back. So now it's his again, and it's
Yeah,
actually
I heard he bought it back.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually thriving better than ever, and it's actually making a profit this time.
Huh.
Still a couple of questionable things, like they add some surcharges here or there, mostly for like big premiere stuff. But um, you know, if anyone's ever looking for something to support, like a very small company, in this case also like a black owned company too, MoviePass might be the way to go. It's actually thriving better than ever, and I'm really glad I saw this documentary. There was actually a lot I didn't know after MoviePass shut down, and what the founder Stacey Spikes had to like deal with when they brought in these other investors and just took control of the company and let them go. It made sense why they had such a one of the biggest downfalls for a company just ever.
Yeah.
Very informative stuff that came out of that.
I'll have to look into it.
And Pat, this was a documentary that you and I were wanting to watch. It had a re-release, but both times we had the storms. It's the Christopher Reeve documentary. It's on Max.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Yeah, this might be my favorite. I know I didn't say I didn't watch a lot of movies this year. This one might be my favorite this year. The Christopher Reeve documentary was just emotional and it's just very sad. Like we all know what happens to Christopher Reeve at in the end, but to have his kids talk about like who he was outside of the Superman movies, what happened during the Superman movies, especially nearing 3 and 4. We all know what happens. But by that time, 3 and 4 didn't really do too well, especially number 4.
Yeah.
You know, Christopher Reeve was, you know, he was facing this downfall era of an actor, which a lot of actors go through, and then, you know, the accident happens. But sometime after filming all the Superman movies, one of his sons was talking about like, yeah, he was going to go on the road. He did you know, he did a lot of horseback riding, which was his hobby, and how he got into an accident. And one thing that he said was, you know, I remember looking down from my room, and his dad looked up, waved at him, and he said, you know, that's the last time I saw him on his feet. And you just see just the emotions and some trauma that really came from that.
Yeah.
And just how much support he's gotten from his family. And, again, I might be sounding a broken record, but very compelling stuff. And this is another that I really wished I saw in theaters, but I'm glad I got the chance to still watch it. But that doesn't mean I still didn't go to the theaters. I still did. I went for like more of the. I know I missed Dune 2. That technically counts. It is a bigger movie, but I still went to the theaters for more of the bigger stuff this year, like Alien, Apes, and Deadpool and Wolverine, which I enjoy the hell out of.
Yeah.
You brought it up, Pat, about how great of a consistency the Apes franchise has, and I'm really glad they continue that with Kingdom. I didn't really expect much from Kingdom. I think I was still expecting a good movie. I didn't expect it to like it that much though.
Yeah.
Because after Kingdom, I actually went back and rewatched the 3 previous movies, and I actually went ahead and watched the original movie, and to find out how the because at the time I never watched the original. I've only ever watched just the Andy Serkis films, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it actually surprised me how much they actually utilized in the new movies, like Nova, the name Nova that comes in much later on in the original trilogy.
Right.
That's what they called the humans in the original movie, and I honestly did not know that. So that was very interesting to do that. Alien Romulus, enjoy the hell out of. Um, there's been a lot of talks about having a new Alien versus Predator movie, especially with how great of a movie Prey has been and how great of a movie Romulus has been. I don't think I'm ready for an AVP movie, Pat.
Me neither.
And could it still work? Maybe. I know there's been good comics about it. There's been some fun video games crossing over the two universes, but as far as film, I don't think I'm ready for that. Let them kind of be their own franchises for a while. If someone does come in and try to produce a good movie, good on them.
Yeah.
But the track record that the crossover movies have had, and we've only had two, they haven't really been well. And I know that was like, God, more than, oh man, almost, it's got to be almost 20 years now since we've gotten any of the crossover films. It's got to be, I think.
AVPR was 2009.
Okay,
So,
yeah. So almost, yeah. Yeah, let the franchises kind of stand alone. Like, it's cool that we still get Easter eggs. Like, I know in Prey, or I think somewhere in the post credits, well, not post credits, but somewhere in the mid credit animation, I think we do see like the head of a xenomorph somewhere. That I don't mind. Of course, Deadpool and Wolverine, like I said, so, fun stuff. It's really great to see Marvel giving us some pretty good movies, even though they have been more lackluster. And
Yeah.
I say that because, Pat, you actually sent me a list the other day of characters that have how many movies they have had from the first Iron Man movie to Endgame. Like how many times have they appeared, and how many times the characters have appeared from Endgame to what's coming next, which was Secret Wars.
Yeah, Doomsday, basically.
Doomsday, one of the two, and it honestly surprised me how much they have developed some of the new stuff, like Miss Marvel. I would even say Captain Marvel alone.
Yeah, it's just like there's just like they're not developing these characters at all.
Yeah,
they're just not appearing in other movies.
Yeah, well, it was in just thinking about it, like Shang-Chi, fun movie, really.
Where's he been?
Yeah,
where's he been?
Yeah, where is he?
Where is he? Have you seen him? Have you seen this man? Do I need to put his face on a fucking jug of milk?
I want to see Shang-Chi around. His movie was actually genuinely good and genuinely funny.
Yeah, like,
so
where's he at, bro? Like, I just don't get it.
So, but also, in a way too, Deadpool and Wolverine was also a big celebration of like the Fox movies, especially with the end credits that we got, which
it's a love letter to a bygone era of superhero movies.
Yeah,
more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pat, let's go ahead and talk about some stuff that we're excited for coming up this year. Let's go ahead and start with some of the games that you're looking forward to.
Sure. Yeah, I have a short little list. All right. So, most anticipated games for 2025. Top of the list, we got Monster Hunter Wilds. Comes out next month. I played the beta test a couple months ago, and yeah, I just want more. Monster Hunter is one of my favorite franchises. This is shaping up to be another stellar entry. Can't wait to sink my teeth into this. Comes out next month, so I don't have to wait too much longer. 28th, actually, February 28th. So last day of the month. Civilization 7 also comes out next month. Actually, a month from today, just about. I love the Civilization games. It's been a number of years since Civ 6. I used to play Civ 6 every Wednesday night with friends. We would have a revolving door of campaigns. These games make me feel I have like the biggest brain in the universe. Whenever I build something immaculate and I take it to victory, and some of the gameplay changes for this one look really interesting. Namely, leaders persist, like civilizations going through different ages now, and leaders persisting through different ages. That probably doesn't mean anything to anyone who hasn't played a Civ game before, but it means something to me, and that's what matters. So, um, Borderlands 4 also on this list. Big Borderlands fan. Recently played through Borderlands 3 and all of its DLC with my friends a few months ago, just as like a refresher, because we got that first teaser trailer. Now we have a more in-depth trailer that shows off some of the gameplay and the new Vault Hunters, and I'm interested to see how it plays. No time window for it other than 2025. Speaking of games that are coming out in 2025, probably, but we don't have a window yet, Grand Theft Auto 6. Anybody who plays video games is probably looking forward to this one. This is Rockstar's next massive open world game. Takes place in Florida, so you know I gotta play it. Yeah. I'm hearing rumors that this is targeting like a fall/winter release, and now every other game developer is trying not to release their game around that time because it's just going to be crushed underneath the weight of Rockstar's next massive release. It's been a long time coming. Rockstar's last game was Red Dead Redemption 2, which was released in 2018. And before that, it was GTA 5, which was released in 2013. So it'll have been 12 years, presumably, if it comes out at the end of this year. So that's a long wait, man. I mean, Rockstar is quickly turning into a developer who releases one game per console generation, which is really insane to think about, considering within 4 years, the PlayStation 2 got all 3 of its mainline GTA games. But hey, what are you gonna do? Next we have Doom: The Dark Ages. New Doom game. Obviously excited. This one seems to be more open world and has it's like a prequel, I think, and it's got like some medieval inspired weaponry, like a chainsaw sword and a shield that you can absorb bullets with and throw them back. So that's cool. I love the Doom games. The modern Doom games, especially Doom 2016, Doom Eternal. I'm sure this one will be just as good. Next, you have Skate, the rebirth of the Skate franchise that has sat dormant since 2010. 15 years since the last Skate game. Way too long of a wait. This one is in like private invite only alpha playtests right now, but it's supposed to be coming out sometime this year, and I'm super excited about it. We have Ghost of Yote, Sucker Punch's new blockbuster open world samurai game, sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, one of the best games that came out in 2020. Sucker Punch, again, also turning out to be a developer that only makes one game per console generation, which is really unfortunate. I wish games didn't take so long to make now, or have such insane budgets. But we got a pretty good trailer for this at Summer Games Fest, or maybe it was the Game Awards. I honestly, or maybe it was the State of Play. Like it ended the State of Play. But I loved Ghost of Tsushima, so I'm definitely interested in this. Next we have Avowed, which is the new game from Obsidian Studios of Fallout New Vegas and Outer Worlds fame. Pretty cool looking first-person RPG a la The Elder Scrolls. I don't know what it is, but like when they were first announcing this game and showing it off, I didn't think it actually looked that great. But then I'm hearing everybody who's played the most recent preview had an absolutely amazing time with it. And I'll be honest, I kind of got to play it just because Obsidian made it, and they always deliver, at the very least, in terms of dialogue. I love the way Obsidian writes their games. So I'll definitely get into that. And lastly, I have Slay the Spire 2, which is the long-awaited sequel to Slay the Spire, one of my favorite games. Roguelike deck builder, ascend the tower, fight monsters, craft your deck with the cards that you find, and hopefully make it to the top and beat the final boss. This kind of looks just like the first Slay the Spire, but with some smart additions and a new character, and that's fine. That's all it needs to be, because Slay the Spire is fantastic, and I will happily take more. And that's kind of, at least right now, that's everything I'm looking forward to in 2025. In terms of games, how about you?
Ooh.
You got anything you're looking forward to playing in 2025?
Definitely GTA 6. I mean, I think that's kind of a given. It really
naturally.
is. Yeah. Not really. I don't really follow a lot of gaming stuff. I'm kind of going through a list here. I didn't even know there was a new Assassin's Creed game coming out sometime this year in March.
Well, it was supposed to come out in November. So it was.
Isn't that delayed. A good sign?
Yeah, it was delayed from November to February, and then again from February to March. So I can only imagine what that game would have looked like had it actually released in November.
Oh, we're supposed to be getting a new Borderlands game this year. Wow.
Yeah, I just talked about Borderlands 4.
Yeah. Yes, you did. I kind of zoned out for a second when you're talking about that. My fault.
It's all good. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not really too much into. You know me, Pat. I'm not really much a gamer. I would say right now, Grand Theft Auto 6. But you know that probably won't stop me to finding a fun game. That
exactly.
Like this year, I know you talk about Helldivers too. Helldivers was a fun game, but I do want to say before we continue about looking forward for movies for this year. One game that really stood out for me this year, Pat, was actually this small indie game called Content Warning. It came out in April, I believe, of this year.
I think I heard about it, but I didn't get around to playing it.
It's very similar to Lethal Company, but rather than buying scrap, what you do, you and your friends are trying to be these like content creators, and you go to like these abandoned places and just like you have to deal with like all these like monsters and ghosts.
Gotcha.
And like your quota is to rack in a certain amount of views for a certain amount of money, rather than finding a certain amount of stuff to make money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, very similar to Lethal Company, but I it's much more funnier though.
Good to know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lethal Company was a game I played a lot this year, just because I got into modding it with friends.
Yeah, I know they've made an update. I haven't really done much since they've updated it. No, you know what? Lethal Company has had mods. I'm thinking of Content Warning. Content Warning had a mod support update back in December. I'm getting the
gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Really have to use
like, what's funny, pal? Like every time I play Lethal, I always play with mods because the amount
because it's awesome.
Just the amount of shit you can just pull off with that game with mods. We have
so good.
It's so fun. Yeah, more games like this, please. I think I kind of found my favorite genre, just like
your niche, like 4-player horror games.
4-player indie horror, and you can just mod the absolute fuck out of just for the hell of it.
Yeah, man.
So Pat, another indie game that I have actually been playing a significant amount these last couple of months. It came out back in October. It's called Web Fishing. You actually talked to me about it before we started recording this episode.
Yes.
It's just a very chill game, and all you do, you just play as like a dog or cat, and you just fish. Now there are like some fun stuff too, like you'll be like a UFO coming down, and you'll collect this fish called an unidentifying fish object.
Yeah.
You know, cute little fun stuff like that. Um, I will say if you are a big fan of Animal Crossing, this is. I mean, you don't really build stuff, but because all you do is just fish. But if you are a fan of Animal Crossing, I think you'll enjoy this game. More like casual game, but also very indie too. Made by one guy, and yeah. Again, Pat, just a fun, just what a fun year it's been for a lot of these indie games. I never really thought I would really be into indie games. Just more of like, okay, I'm just, since I'm not much of a gamer, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna play just the big stuff, play it, experience it, cool. So I think as someone that doesn't really play games, I think I really dove into something that, like you said, I think I found a niche almost, just more chill indie games that I just want to just hang out with friends really, and all stuff like content warning and web fishing is just it's kind of up my alley really.
Right on, dude. Yeah, I played it a little bit here and there. It's a chill game to hang out with Discord on friends.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
do
don't
some
know if
fishing.
you do this, Pat, but the rock that's right by the lighthouse, there's like a little mushroom they can jump on. There's actually like various mushrooms that you can jump on in the game. But what we do, we will use that mushroom to launch ourselves to that rock, and we've actually gotten some pretty cool stuff from that area, actually.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to take a look.
All right, Pat, let's go ahead and talk about our movies that we're looking forward to this year.
Sure.
If you don't mind, I want to start. Of course, we have the Marvel movies. We have the new Captain America movies. We have Thunderbolts, and we have Fantastic Four coming out. I think out of those three, I'm definitely looking forward to Fantastic Four the most. We haven't really gotten a trailer yet.
Yeah.
But what they're doing so far, from what I've heard from all the announcements, I'm genuinely looking forward to this. It's time that we finally get a good Fantastic Four movie. We've gotten three in our lifetime, and before that, Pat, long ago, we've got one decades ago that no one really talks about.
Right.
I love how Pedro Pascal is getting casted in almost everything now. I would honestly not expect him to be.
Yeah, he's like the new, he's like the new It guy.
He really is. I honestly would never expected him to be Reed Richards, but I think he'll do a pretty good job. I mean, even though he's the new It guy, I do love me some Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have Thunderbolts on my list as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
may as well mention that now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it on the show before when the trailer came out. Just what a great time for like villain media on movies and shows, and Thunderbolts is definitely one I'm genuinely looking forward to. The trailer looked pretty cool. The trailer came out for this just a couple of weeks ago, and as someone that's a big fan of Cobra Kai, I think I'm so looking forward to the new Karate Kid movie, Karate Kid Legends.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about this a lot of the plot details until the trailer came out, but it's supposed to take 3 years after the Cobra Kai series finale, which makes me even more hyped for part 3 to come out. I have some fan theories about how it's going to end. I won't. I'm going to save those theories for when part 3 comes out. And Pat, this is a movie I really want to watch. And it's I've been getting a lot of my friends that have watched Cobra Kai, they're not caught up yet, to watch it. And Pat, I want you to start watching it so we can go see Karate Kid Legends. Yeah, I think it's very interesting that they're bringing back Jackie Chan out of all people, mixing up the Jaden Smith movie, which was Kung Fu, with Miyagi Do. Um, that there hasn't really been too much of what's coming out, but Mr. Han, Jackie Chan's character, does have a new kid that he's training. So to go into Daniel LaRusso for help, um, just makes me wonder, like, because they've been expanding Mr. Miyagi throughout the entire run of Cobra Kai. It makes me wonder where he falls in the line of Mr. Miyagi's life, if he ever met him. But
Yeah.
but in the trailer, he does say he doesn't come from Mr. Miyagi. He came from Daniel. But still makes me wonder, like, well, you had to know Daniel through something, and that's something, or someone has to be Mr. It just makes sense to be Mr. Miyagi. But I'm very intrigued. I've stated before, I know the Jaden Smith movie isn't necessarily the fan favorite of the Karate Kid movies. But I'm very interested to see how they're gonna explore Mr. Han's character this time around.
Yeah.
One movie this has to be like my Force Awakens movie, because when Force Awakens was coming out, I was so looking forward to it. I was so excited. I bought so much merch, and I'm feeling the same way for the new Superman movie.
This one's on my list too.
I've been on such a Superman craze lately, Pat. I've actually started watching Superman and Lois, the show that was on CW, because I've heard so many great things about it, and I'm like, yeah, I need something to kind of fill that hole right now. I hear the cartoon on Adult Swim is actually genuinely funny. I might check that out too, but so far I'm so loving Superman and Lois, and the trailer for James Gunn Superman just looks so good, man. I've never felt this way for. I take that back. I have felt this way for a movie, and that was Force Awakens, exactly what I've stated just a few minutes ago. But yeah, I just never felt so excited for a movie like this since that, and it's making me feel very nostalgic for that time. But it's just it's just fun to be excited for a movie like that. I haven't felt excited for a movie like that since 2015.
Yeah.
And a new Predator movie coming out is going to be a sequel to Prey. I'm interested to see where they're going to be taking the Predator movies from here. Prey was so good, a nice surprise. And one that's really I'm very interested in checking out. This is a movie made by a YouTuber named Chris Duckman. He released his indie film last year at a film festival. It's actually gotten pretty good reviews. It's going to be getting a big release sometime this year through the production company Neon Films. It's Shelby Oaks. I've been following Chris Duckman for a long time now. And when he first announced that he was making a movie, I was expecting it to be this very small, independent, like, release, like, through streaming. It's getting a theatrical release, which I am so looking forward to. Shelby Oaks is supposed to take place in, like, this haunted movie theater. But from the reviews I've heard at the film festival, the rating that it actually sits right now on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm genuinely surprised that a movie made by a YouTuber is actually doing pretty well. It holds a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to this one. Well, I said interested. Yeah, I'm more interested to see where this is gonna go.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, pal. What's your list?
Well, we talked about Thunderbolts and Superman already,
Mhm.
so I can just cross those off.
Yeah.
I have Mickey 17 on my list. This is the new movie from the director of Parasite, and it
Oh yeah.
stars Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. I did see the trailer for this. This looked
This looks so good.
it looked yeah, it was
It's like a black sci-fi comedy where he's
yeah.
just constantly like respawning.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was a pretty goofy trailer, but I actually I yeah, the trailer for this came out a while ago. It doesn't come out the movie doesn't come out till March. I honestly thought this movie already came out, to be honest.
it was delayed. So
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
yeah, so Mickey 17 is on here. Um, definitely looking forward to that. I have 28 Years Later on
Oh,
here.
I was gonna talk about that one. Well,
Oh
I'm glad.
boy, this what a
Yeah.
beautiful trailer.
Oh, well, oh, I yeah. I have to
This
agree.
is
Like,
my favorite movie trailer of maybe the last, I don't know, 10 years.
mhm.
It's
The
so good.
trailer was intense.
Like movie trailers feel like a lost art now.
Mhm.
This restores my faith
Mhm.
substantially. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Finally, after all this time, we get a continuation. Um, I have Tron Ares on here. I like the Tron movies. Tron Legacy was actually pretty darn good. Um, I'd be lying if I said the biggest reason I'm interested in this is because Nine Inch Nails is doing the soundtrack,
Mhm.
of course.
Mhm.
But I also I'm like interested in a new Tron movie because I think that universe is super cool.
Yeah. I remember a long time ago, Pat, when we were doing the show on HCC, I did say that the original Tron movie was like one of my favorite sci-fi movies.
Yeah,
Um, Tron Legacy, I did have fun with. I think it's forgettable at some moments, but
sure.
um, the moment where Tron himself does like come back, that was a really good scene. Um, yeah, Tron Ares, I'm definitely looking forward to. I don't really know how I feel about Jared Leto being casted. Another like it guy in Hollywood, like
For
like
sure.
could it have been someone else? Like,
Apprehensive as I may be about Jared Leto being cast in yet another movie, uh, I gotta check it out for the Nine Inch Nails
oh
soundtrack.
yeah, for sure.
The Daft Punk soundtrack for
Oh, for
Legacy goes
Legacy,
crazy.
yes.
So I mean, rest in peace, Daft Punk.
Oh,
Um, I've also got the Black Phone 2 on this list. Um, did you see the first Black Phone?
no, I didn't even know there was a movie called Black Phone.
Really good movie. Ethan Hawke is in it. He plays like
Mm-hmm.
the antagonist. The setup essentially is a young boy is kidnapped and he's placed in a basement, and the only thing inside this basement is a telephone.
Mm-hmm.
And when he answers the telephone, the voices that he's hearing on the other side are the spirits of the killer's previous victims.
Oh my God.
And he's using the phone calls with the spirits to like navigate the situation. It's a very interesting premise, and Ethan Hawke plays the serial killer, and very like atypical role for Ethan Hawke. Really, really cool. I'm given the ending of the first movie, I'm curious how they're doing a sequel, but we'll see. And then finally, I have Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which is most likely the last Mission Impossible movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think of all modern, action franchises, Mission Impossible is the most consistent. Um, I mean, like the worst one is Mission Impossible 2. maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, ever since then, it's just been non-stop gas.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning, like they're all phenomenal. Like insanely good.
Yeah, I do find it interesting that they changed the titles, but to be fair, that also isn't very common these days. Like when Infinity War came out, it was going to be part 1 and 2, then they changed it to Endgame. So, but I think calling it Final Reckoning though does make more sense,
Yeah.
if especially if this is going to be the last movie too.
Yeah, if this is the last Mission Impossible movie, or at the very least the last of the series as we know it, with Tom Cruise and all that, um then I gotta go see this one. Because I mean they've all been so good, right? It feels like, I mean, Tom Cruise is insane and he does all of his own
Yeah,
stunts for these, so
yeah,
I gotta see what kind of fucking lunacy he gets into for this one. Because I have to imagine he's just like not going to be willing to do this for that much longer, right?
yeah,
He's kind of getting up there, and he
yeah,
broke his
and
ankle. He broke his ankle on the last one,
mm-hmm,
and they used that shot in the movie. So, um, yeah,
mm-hmm.
definitely looking forward to that one. And that's the list of movies from me.
One movie I want to bring up, Pat, real quick. The new Avatar movie, Fire and Ash, that's coming out in December. Um,
Yes.
I, I, yeah, new Avatar movie, but but also like Way of Water was a pleasant surprise considering that movie came out like 10 years, just little over 10 years. So I'm genuinely looking forward to see where they explore the universe. I know you joked
Mhm.
about it when we first talked about it on the D23 episode, how like, yeah, this is sort of this has become Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now we've gotten to water. Now we're getting into fire, but
Yeah.
no, just a pleasant surprise that the sequel was, and yeah, I'm again just looking forward to see where they're gonna take this whole world of Pandora here on out, and really a lot of the characters too. I do hope we get some more development with some of the characters, like the son of the villain. I don't think he was really too developed to really care for in like in Way of Water, and then bringing back um what's the actor's name, Stephen Lang.
Yes.
Yeah, where his character, kind of bringing him back, I thought was kind of random, but also to see like, okay, there is going to be conflict with him and his son. Um, but even with those notes, I have still a fun and Avatar movie, especially being a James Cameron sequel. Like when he does his sequels, he puts his all into it. I mean, look at stuff like Aliens and T2.
Yeah.
So, and he really is committed to doing this franchise. I've had heard rumors that after Fire and Ash, he may want to have someone else direct, because he did say sometime before that he never thought that he would really still be around to make these sequels. And it all just kind of pointed to some hints like he may want to get someone else. But hey, if he can still kick it and still give us some pretty good Avatar movies, hey, yeah, I'll check him out.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. But if he does, decide to give it to someone else, I think I'll be fine with that too. Just as long as this franchise can stay pretty consistent. Pat, before we end this episode, what are your plans for 2025?
Stay working, stay
Stay
gaming.
working, stay gaming. I love that mindset. I want to stay podcasting, man.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I think my overall goal this year is I would love to just make the podcast go viral, and it's not for like the fame of fortune. I do have like genuinely, I overall have like a genuinely good plan, just bringing everyone and just. I kind of have like like a big notes in my phone of like what I want to do
Hmm.
if the podcast ever like makes it huge, and like the fortune I would love, but that's for like an entirely different reason. It's not because I just love money. For who doesn't, but also, but I mean also like I genuinely have like I think a solid plan, and it does involve like a big group of people. So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, let's all, you know, let- let's all come on the podcast, talk about movies and games, and have fun, and also get paid well too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But we got a long ways going, but whatever is in store for 2025 for this podcast. I mean, I'm just down to just still talk about movies, games, music, and all the other stuff that we talk about.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Next episode, I do plan on bringing in more people that's in our server that I created so we can do the show. So stick around for that. Stick around for that.
Sweet.
All right, Pat. Well, with that being said, with all the plans that we have for 2025, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at PattyWiseTheClown, and you can also find me on Backlogged at BlackStarRaider.
You can
And
find
that's it.
and you can find me at Tommy.Zombie on Instagram and Threads as well. Thank you all for tuning in into the first episode of 2025 of Party Pastime, and be sure to stick around because next time, as I stated, I hope to make this party even bigger. But until then, party on, partiers.